This is a famous perverted killer. People call him Poker Night. He is always cruel to the victims, and he killed 25 people in a row in just 1 month. That means one person will die every day in his arms. The victims were locked up in the basement by him, and being tortured very cruelly. Once in here, never survived. This place is like a hell on earth. Today, JTeam will tell you about the movie, Poker Night. Stan Jeter as a detective. That night, he was driving on duty. A girl panicked running to the front of his car. Years of detective experience told him, certainly something terrible is going on. So Jeter got out of the car. He just found the girl when he was attacked by a thug. He was knocked unconscious. At this point, the tinkerer took out a remote. He gently pressed the button. The necklace around her neck was suddenly tightened. Turns out she was tortured by a thug. The torture has just begun. Jeter was taken to a secret room by the thugs. The one who captured him is the famous assassin, Poker Night. He killed without blinking. Every time he tries to kill someone, he also wears a mask. No one has ever seen the face of Poker Night. Jeter knew this time he had a tough opponent. So he tried his best to convince Poker Night. Let Poker Night release him. After a while of talking, Jeter understood the mentality of Poker Night. In the past, Poker Night was an ordinary employee. Because he is so gentle, he is often bullied by his colleagues. They made him do everything. In the end, because he could not bear the oppression, so he killed all of his colleagues by himself. Since then, he has no way to retreat. With that said, Poker Night injected Jeter's ear with something. Then he left the room. When she woke up, Jeter heard Amy's voice in the next room. Through the conversation, Jeter found out. Amy was locked here for 2 weeks. Every night she was tortured and brutally tortured by Poker Night. Amy's body was covered with chains all over. She said to Jeter, if she wants to run away from here, then they have to take advantage of when Poker Night is out. And Amy's room could hear Poker Night's car. Jeter also tried her best to tug the ropes. But Poker Night tied Jeter too tightly. Fortunately, the screw under the seat is loose. So Jeter successfully untied. At this moment, Jeter spotted a girl on his arm. While he was in a coma, he recalled. Poker Night sneaked a tattoo on his arm. What a perverted assassin. Jeter didn't know what Poker Night was going to do after all. The most important thing right now is to get out of here quickly. Listening to the sound, Jeter tried to find the other room. He entered a tunnel and found Amy. But her limbs were bound by 4 chains. Wanting to save Amy, Jeter had to go back to the room to find the chain release tool. Suddenly there was a siren outside. Jeter heard a rush to find a hiding place. Poker Night is back. Then Jeter came to a room. The room was filled with pictures of the victims. All are single girls. Poker Night killed countless unfortunate girls. Jeter decided to take Poker Night personally. Jeter slowly approached Poker Night but discovered it was a dummy. The real Poker Night is right behind him. Finally, Jeter was taken back to the basement. Jeter knew he would suffer barbaric blows. As expected, Poker Night broke Jeter's arm. Then Poker Night used Jeter glue against the wall. To get out of the glue, Jeter had to sacrifice a piece of skin. Poker Night also told Jeter, to be able to stick Jeter on the wall, he had to spend 35 bottles of 502 glue. Jeter can still get away on her own, but was in great pain. Poker Night wants to see Jeter get rid of that glue. Jeter understood now. The assassin in front of him is really perverted. To catch prey playing. Poker Night did a very thorough search on the internet. Find documents and research papers on killing prey. Poker Night even went to find a teacher to learn the profession. Find killer masters to learn skills. After that, Poker Night went to Amy's room. Poker Night released her and allowed her to call relatives. Amy doesn't believe this, until Poker Night actually threw the key down. Amy just hurriedly called her father. But just as the phone rang, Poker Night pushed Amy down again. Then asked Amy's father to prepare $100,000 in ransom. Amy's father is the sheriff of a small town. He is also a talented detective, having broken countless big cases. The next day, the sheriff, holding a gun and cash, arrived at the meeting place. He has discovered a strange man. The sheriff pulled out a gun and asked where his daughter was. But the other man doesn't know anything. Seeing the opponent's fearful appearance, the sheriff realized this was just a passerby. But as the sheriff turned to get into the car, that man suddenly pulled out the electric shock. Turns out this is Poker Night. Just now it was just his show with the dog. Jeter is still trying to get rid of the glue. He pulled his leg out. Tried to use force to hit the water hose next to it. Jeter knew the glue that met water would stop sticking. But unfortunately, he used too much force, causing the water hose to hit the head. While unconscious, he heard Amy scream. Jeter held back in pain, running out of the room. But the door was locked by Poker Night. At this moment, Jeter discovered that the wall was being seeped. So he took a chair and slammed it against the wall with all his might. The thin wall was pierced with a hole by him. But the two were not happy enough. Poker Night was hurt again. Just got home, Poker Night turned on the camera. He found Jeter no longer in the basement. Now only Amy was left. Poker Night angrily rushed in with a gun. But he just entered the room. Jeter attacked from the corner of the room. But suddenly Amy screamed, telling Jeter to stop. But the gun in hand could not help but shoot. The one in front is Poker Night. But the thing that Jeter couldn't have imagined was, he just shot and killed Poker Night when another Poker Night appeared. It turns out that the one who was shot to death by Jeter is Amy's father. Amy discovered that it was her father, so she told Jeter to stop. But it was too late. As planned, Poker Night caused both suffering. After that, a policeman came to the house of Poker Night. He's a colleague of Jeter, since he disappeared near this place, so he went to investigate. Poker Night was afraid that the policeman had found the basement. So he decided to go first. But he did not expect this policeman is also a master. First of all, Poker Night was controlled. He quickly spotted Jeter in the basement. Just seeing the policeman, Jeter asked if Poker Night was dead. The policeman said that Poker Night was just a bad guy. But Jeter feels something is wrong. Not yet warned the police. The policeman was shot in the head by Poker Night. He died right in front of Jeter. Poker Night reappears again. At this moment, Jeter suddenly recalled what was before. It turns out, a year ago, Jeter killed an assassin. That person is the master of Poker Night. So Poker Night intentionally planned to arrest Jeter, then let Jeter watch the loved ones get killed. Jeter thought more and more. He vowed not to let Poker Night fulfill his plan. By the time Poker Night didn't notice, Jeter had tightened the leash on Poker Night's neck, while Poker Night was dying. Jeter handcuffed Poker Night. The situation is now reversed. Jeter gave Poker Night a match. At this point, Poker Night told Jeter, even if he dies, the death will continue, because he has a pupil. Jeter hurried to the next room to find Amy, then take her out of that scary room. Outside, there are many police cars. They ordered Jeter to put down the weapon in his hand, but he couldn't put the gun down. Turns out Poker Night was secretly applying glue to the gun. Police found that Jeter was uncooperative and shot him. Then Jeter was arrested by the police. They discovered the body of the policeman in the basement. There was also Jeter's fingerprint on it. They found no trace of Poker Night, which Jeter always mentioned. Amy woke up insistently that Jeter was the killer. Just now, Jeter understood. It turns out, Amy was the student that Poker Night mentioned. This is really a good movie. The killer is indeed very ferocious. He also goes online to learn, find a teacher to teach. More frightening is that he has learned too many tricks. Acting skills when deceiving the police. Without any loopholes. He calmly answered the policeman's question. Makes him think Poker Night is just ordinary people. But the last move is what Poker Night's brilliant move is. He convinced Amy to become his apprentice. Then help him get revenge on Jeter. The atmosphere that covers the film is highly appreciated. There are no redundant details in the movie. Successful combination between crime psychology and horror genre. Today's movie comes here only. Remember to like and share to support JTeam Offline.